Welcome everybody to the April 4th Remsco meeting. Call the meeting to order. Any additions, changes to the past minutes? If I don't hear any, do I have a motion and a second?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
Ron Smith makes a motion to accept. Mary Kleinhans to second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any oppositions? So moved. Dave, treasurers. Oh, I've got another copy.
Fiscal year was Debbie manipulated a bunch of numbers around and lined up the salaries and managed to overspend our budget a little bit, so we should get all the money back from the state. Report will be coming on about in a couple weeks.
That's a good way to do it, overspend.
Yeah. Enforcement list. We have two. First one is revoked effective 3/14 for violations of 10 NYCRR Part 800.16.5 Jared Wells from Ogdensburg. Second one, effective 3/14, suspension stayed, assess a civil penalty of $2,000. Of that amount, $1,750 is suspended. 10 NYCRR Part 800.16A7 Raul Steed Jr. from New York. Other, we have received letters from St. Lawrence County confirming the members that we had voted on at the last meeting. We have all those letters that have come in just confirming that. And I have a letter from Arthur Garno from Canton, interested in joining us. And if you recall, we had a position that we wanted somebody from Canton from the program, or from the course sponsor up there, and Art is joining us tonight, and he did participate in the training and ed meeting, and Ann is working with the county on getting all his paperwork through, correct? Sure, we can do that. Do we want to go around? We do have a lot of new faces. Maybe introduce your name and maybe what county you're from. Debbie Singleton, Jefferson County.
Jim Devers, Lewis.
Kristen Mead, Lewis County.
Ken Gardner, St. Lawrence.
Raleigh Chamber, Jefferson County.
Kobe Brooks, LifeNet of New York.
Rob Meyer, St. Lawrence County.
Wayne Love, St. Lawrence County.
Michael Bronzo, St. Lawrence County.
Bob McKenzie, Lewis County. Joe Bova, Jefferson County.
Carol Mitch, St. Lawrence. Dottie Suter, Lewis County.
Craig Ballard, St. Lawrence County.
Ron Smith, Jefferson.
Mary Kleinhans, Jefferson.
Jim Barr, St. Lawrence County.
Mark, we met this morning.
Ron Hant, St. Lawrence County.
Larry Gerard, Jefferson County.
Bobby Simpson, Jefferson.
Jefferson. Kurt Blubacher, Program Agency. Paul Langman, Lewis County. David Nett, Lewis County.
David Allen.
And Smith, all three counties.
And
Dave Sherman, Jefferson County.
okay.
Thank you, as long as there's no tax.
Debbie Falls, Jefferson County. Skipped right over me.
Oh, I thought you, I'm sorry. Okay, Semsco CMAC, we have Ann's name on that to give the report because Debbie and Jim were unable to attend.
All right, so there will be copies of the minutes coming around for those of you who didn't get them in the REMAT meetings. I'm just going to skip through some of these. There's a lot of discussion on the Transcare ambulance bankruptcy, and one thing they comment on is how the EMS community stood up and they really did shine to cover the blank spot that they left. But also, it's a reminder to the region, this body, of the importance of continuity of operations planning, as well as it should be a reminder to all the agencies out there that they need to make sure that they have continuity of operation plans in place. If something, God forbid, does happen. So an agency that seems to be doing fine one day, maybe, that could change. And who's going to be there to fill your shoes? So
But when I talked to the state about that, they said they have a closure plan, so it's a 60-day closure plan, so everything's good because they have to give us 60 days' notice.
They have a policy out there, but, in this case, they knew that there was some trouble in the water, and then, at the beginning of the week, they were gonna be open for a while, is my understanding, and then by Friday, they were done. All the trucks were pulled off the road, and this was a large agency covering multiple counties surrounding New York City as well as in New York City.
2,500 employees.
2,500 employees. And that gives you a good idea of this agency as a whole that it left. So Part 800 changes regarding controlled substance, reciprocity, certifications of those with criminal convictions continue to move forward in the legislative forum. They've updated their BLS protocols on the website. It's a work in progress, a dynamic document. They've had 2 applications for blood transfusion services or agencies to do that, one of which is approved, one of which is in the hopper. EMS Memorials, May 17th. The next state meeting is May 24th and 25th. They had some changes in the hemorrhage protocol. I went through that at REMAC, so you'll see the new changes coming out. Couple CMAC advisories rescinded because the information and the treatment of patients with hemophilia and on biphasic defibrillation is now part of the curriculum. There's a motion to approve BLS acquisition of 12 lead as a regional adjunct. That's something down the road. We need to get our ALS transmission in order first before we move with that. But again, we're waiting for more information from the state. They had an update on check and inject program. The new instructor exams will begin in May, so anybody who's signing up now to take an instructor exam, that will be the exam that they get when they get to the regional test site. They rescinded the motion for an 85% passing score on the provider test because you're not taking a provider test any longer. It is 70% passing on this new instructor test. The budget templates have come out, and I am working on those for the region. They have simplified it immensely from the time I did them 3 years ago. So the only information they're asking for is course sponsor projections. I have sent out the portion to be filled out to each of the course sponsors. I've got Jefferson Community College's back. I'll work with SUNY Canton on theirs, and I need to get JCC's back. So, but they have, or Jefferson County EMS, sorry. They have 2. They have to do the specialty course sponsor and their course sponsor projections. But that's all they're asking for. They're not asking for the regional budget or the program agency budget. That's now being done with their contracts. There's one CON appeal in the hopper, and I'm happy to say it is not ours. There was a discussion on BLSFR agencies. Agency codes will not be given for education funding if they are not providing or have the ability to operate in the community. So basically, like a lot of the industrial folks will no longer be receiving the BLSFRs. So, actually, I think they were all removed back when they did the update in 2012. New York State ranks 50th in volunteerism, which may explain some of the challenges we have with the volunteer EMS system. There's a multitude of legislation actions there that are outlined or a summary given. I did go in and pull the summary on some of them for you. The community medicine legislation is still on the table. They think they've come to an agreement with the home health care folks, so hopefully that'll move forward. There was some thought that there is some type of project out there that they can be added into to get around some of the regulations. So they're continuing to look at that. And that's basically what I have from the state report. There's a few other things there. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. Questions?
Remac.
So they put together a committee to look at both the albuterol and blood glucometry policy statements. We had gotten a motion to change the albuterol policy statement wording a little bit to clarify it. And once I went in to look at that a little bit closer, I realized that we still had a separate regional protocol from the state protocol, which has caused confusion for years. So there was a motion, and I believe to come forth a seconded motion to get rid of the regional protocol for albuterol and go with the state, and that's the motion.
So we have a motion that's coming forth from REMAC to eliminate the regional protocol for albuterol and adopt the state one.
I make the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So carried.
As a result of that, it was identified that some of the paperwork needs to be updated along with blood glucometry policy statements, and a committee was put together to do that. There was a discussion about medical directors and scratch rates. A committee to look at was put together to look at criteria in the process of notifying MDs and or agencies of high scratch rates to try and combat some of these areas that are not getting ambulances out the door. There's a seconded motion coming forward to approve an Excellence in EMS Award for Lewis County. There was multiple agencies that were involved working together on a hazardous materials MBA. And I have them. Oh, you're going to do a motion?
Well, it's already a motion, so it's a...
Or second?
Yeah.
Okay, we got a second. I'll give you more details on my program agency report.
But we'll just vote on it there then, so that they can have the details.
So we can vote on it there.
Yeah.
A motion coming forward for the medical director change. Dr. Brown, who is currently overseeing Carthage, has been stationed elsewhere and will be leaving on July 1st. So there's a motion for Dr. Parshall to become their new medical director. That's a seconded motion.
All those in favor of accepting Dr. Parshall as the medical director for Carthage Area Rescue Squad?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
There's a seconded motion to start charging providers who are suspended a $25 fee if they are suspended multiple times. What we have found is that it's the same providers every 6 months that we have to go through doing a certified letter, mailing it to the agency. Same old providers. So there'll be the provider suspension fee the first time they get a grace and a warning. After we get the information out there, the second time it'll be a $25 fee for them to become re-credentialed.
And they can do that once every 3 years. So if they just mess up once in 3 years, there's no fee. If they mess up a second or third time within that 3 years, it's going to cost them $25 each time to come back online. Any questions on that?
I have a discussion point that was brought up after our REMAC meeting. Seasonal people that are in the area, a given period of time, get online. They're online. They leave the area for the winter, so to speak, so they don't do the second set of CMEs, the letters sent in by the agency that they're out of the state. They get a suspension letter. When they come back and they go back online, are they going to be charged that fee?
Well, it's all online now, so why can't they put their why can't they do their,
They can do it from East Poto.
right? Can't you?
It was something that was brought up to me, so I'm bringing it forward as a discussion. If that's the answer, then it's a suitable answer. I just wanted to bring it forward before we voted on it.
So when they are here, they can do their skill sessions for the entire year if that is the case.
Yeah.
So, for example, if the person comes back in the spring, they can do all the skills for the whole year if that's the case.
Okay.
Because I think we have one or maybe two people that are that way. But every year I have to hunt down these people. And with this new online system, they still should be able to do their didactic stuff. I mean, come on. If I go to Florida for, 6 months, I still should be keeping up on the science of medicine that changes, or EMS, and be able to submit my, some type of education. There's nothing saying it can't be done online at the regional level. So didactic hours shouldn't be an issue, in my mind. And you can get all your didactic hours in the first semester and be covered for the year. So I think the effort can be there to get these done. But that's just my thought.
Do we have a motion to do that? It's coming from...
It's a seconded motion coming forward.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I believe that was it for motions, and I believe the rest of the discussion will be covered in my program agency report.
That you can go right into.
Just can't find my other notes, so. Yeah, fit one. So, at the last meeting, I reported that we hadn't received any payment for 2 months. Then made a phone call the next morning, and we did receive payment for our first 2 quarters. We will be submitting the 3rd quarter voucher this week. They've asked to have them in as soon as possible and send them prior to our reports. We did our first 2 quarters reporting tool, which is a new thing that they have out, and it was quite an extensive document. I think it was 100 and some pages long by the time it was done. But it should be easier now that we're walking into the 3rd quarter with this reporting tool that they've given us for these contracts. As of today, we finally got the copy of our signed contract back. 9 months after the fact. The memorandum of understanding with the Remsco was approved at the state level. Remember we voted on that, they had to be sent into the state and approved. Narcan, through our opioid overdose prevention program, Watertown Sheriff Department has the Narcan on board, and they did training jointly with the city police department. So they're all set. The program agency did trainings at Ogdensburg Fire Department, opened up to anybody in the region. We did have some other folks join us, so we did 4 of those. I did an ALS inspection at Cape Vincent. An update on the check and inject program. I got 283 participating agencies. There's 17 REMACs that are endorsed. It says first use there, and that's all it says, so I don't know if they've had a use or not. They did put a reminder out that for agencies who have check and inject coordinators, that they need to be getting their paperwork back to them as required, and to make sure that the QA/QI stuff is done, because that's going to be important to this demonstration project. And again, this is a demonstration project that when it's done and over with, the Commissioner of Health will either approve or won't approve. So agencies should all keep in mind they may have to put EpiPens back on their vehicles if they have taken them off. This is the agencies we currently have without narcotics on board. Jefferson County is all set, so there's a few in Lewis and a few in St. Lawrence County that do not have them on board yet. There was no changes from last time, except for Harrisville was on the list, but they do have them. I was told that they do have them on board now. These are EPCR agencies with our newest approval being North Fork Rescue, who went live April 1st. So I'm just going to keep this list down here and update them as we move forward. I did throw this together just so folks had an idea where we stood. This is the information that we have in our databases, keeping in mind that all the first response agencies do not have agency codes, administrative agency codes, but many of them still provide some first response. So I've kept them in the database to kind of keep them in the loop with some of the stuff. So, there's Lewis, although the one BLSFR I've been advised is not providing first response anymore, so we'll take care of that. That's where we are there. And then again, St. Lawrence, so. And the newest BLSFR, which we approved last time, was Clarkson University received their agency code since our last meeting. And there's our numbers for Spring Fling. This is on the agenda later, so I'm not going to go in depth. I do have half an expectation that we may not make as good numbers as we had the last time. First off, because I was a little later getting the information out. Secondly, because spring break in Jefferson County and many other areas was moved the last week in April. Well, St. Lawrence County the schools up there already had their spring break. So that actually affected me with some speakers because they were out of town. Deb won't be there because he's out of town that week. So Mark won't be there because he's out of town that week. So that may affect us, is that change in spring break through the schools. Our new Sunday breakfast session, I was quite excited that, that's good for a first time session. We already got 43 sign-ups, and these were Friday's numbers. We've had a few since then. We do have our hands full with that BLS CPAP for the region, so if we have any instructors that would like to come help us, CICs, CLIs, anybody who would like to come help us with the scenario portions of that, please let me know if you can come and help us. Because there's 55 and those scenarios for that takes some time. So, any questions on the numbers? I think Debbie has some more with Spring Fling maybe when we get there. Those are the numbers, so that'll be out of the way.
And do you think the numbers being down also has to do with the other mountain lakes?
Initial assessment, moving their conference. I think that a few folks have decided to go there instead, especially in the St. Lawrence County area, because it's really not much farther of a drive for them.
A lot of the ones that I had talked to said that they do spring fling to get their June hours, and they go to initial assessment to get their winter hours. It just worked out well for them. I was just wondering if that might have to factor into this a little bit.
Well, even if they do, because you can get all your didactic hours in your first semester, it would still count for them. But I'm going to say that we probably lost a few, and they talked to us about that, but I certainly understand why they had to move.
Absolutely.
And, vital signs was always a month after that, so. But honestly, once we get past the 300 people mark, that's enough. I want to say, yes, we want to grow. You want to grow, but I think that if we keep steady, we're good. Because, we're not out, this isn't an out to make money venture. This is just an out to give education and cover our expenses. Hence, we've been able to keep the prices quite reasonable, I believe, for what we're offering, so. But yes, that could have a little to do with it. So here are the agencies that were involved in that excellence in EMS. So there was a ton of people involved. It was a manure truck accident, and they actually had the manure leaking into the cab of the truck, and they had to get the guy extricated before it filled up. So there was just a lot of crucial pieces to this call that fell together perfectly. And so hence the seconded motion from the REMAC to bring this forth and approve this for an Excellence in EMS Award. And then the discussion was that we would give it out at the Lewis County banquet for the departments, if that's okay with the chair.
Are we having one?
I haven't heard anything, but I missed the last meeting, so. Okay. But anyhow, seconded motion on the floor.
Make a motion that we do it at the Lewis County banquet.
So all those in favor of recognizing all those agencies for excellence in EMS for the call in Lewis County? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So carried.
We already did the medical director change. These are the public access defibrillation reports. Craft Foods in Loudville. Any questions, S.A. Valley? Clemson University in Potsdam. Morgan Stanley, located in Potsdam, and their office in Watertown as well. BLS CPAP, Alexandria Bay, Tri-Town Volunteer Rescue, Parrishville Fire Department, Town of Watertown Fire Department. Again, at the last meeting, there was approvals to move forward, for us to move forward with these, so if anybody objects, speak now or forever hold your peace. Other BLS approvals that we did was epinephrine auto-injector, for Clarkson, BLS Narcan for Clarkson in St. Lawrence University and Morristown Fire Department, and Clarkson again for BLS albuterol. We issued 3 suspensions for non-completion of the patient restraint protocol update. 2 have since completed them, 1 remains suspended. And that is the program agency report.
Any questions for Ian? Okay. Executive committee, so as Dave stated, we did work on the funds. The executive committee reviewed them as we put them together and approved them, so that was done. The executive committee will be working in the next couple months. Ann is going to be with us a year in July, so we have input into her review, so we will be providing that input to Denise Youngs at Fort Drum Regional Health Planning, so the executive committee will be reviewing that and giving some input. Training and Ed, Deb.
Training and Ed met today, and really what we did is we discussed SUNY Canton's course sponsorship renewal that is due this year. June 30th. Art from SUNY Canton is going to be a member of Training and Ed. So we'd like on our committee to have one person from each course sponsor. So we welcome Art, and I think we kind of overwhelmed him a little bit, but he's got phone numbers and names, so he knows how to get a hold of us. So we discussed it. I told him if he could, we would like, the committee would like to get the course sponsorship renewal before the June 6th meeting so that I could have a few days, we need a few days to review it so we have time to get back with him if it's lacking something so that hopefully we can bring it up for vote on that June 6th meeting. So that is our goal. That's what we're going for, and we'll do everything we can to help him to get that ready so we can vote on that in June. And really, that's what our meeting, and we talked a little bit about a CLI course.
And we should let people know that Mike Kennedy is no longer in the course sponsorship office up there, so Art is working on.
If you have questions or concerns, call me, and I probably won't know the answer yet, but I'll see what I can find out to give you the answer. Contact me or Rebecca Blackman, my secretary, will be trying to handle any issues that come up until we get a replacement for Mike.
Oh, one thing I wanted to add on that, SUNY Canton is 100% wanting to continue with the course sponsorship. So that was an important point.
Ron, anything for CON, or has it been quiet?
It's quiet. Normally, this month, I bring a bunch of housekeeping stuff to renew our rates and all that, but I'm not prepared to do that tonight, so that'll have to be done next month, next meeting. And I had planned to bring some other stuff forward for this meeting, but it wasn't to be.
No problem.
So with that said, there's no other report.
Did we get the money back to Lewis County?
Shouldn't there be, I have not seen any accounting of that CON.
Yeah, you sent it out.
I sent the one minus the one. Oh, yeah, I did have the other one.
Yeah. So let's try to see if we can get that back out, because remember the amount that they paid wasn't, so you changed that or whatever, so let's see if we can't get that out. We'll see if we can't get that out in the next week so that we can get that.
Well, I need it to be able to evaluate for our setting of our fees. I'll give it to you tomorrow. All right?
Must be working at craft tomorrow.
Him? Work?
That looks fair.
Ken, anything for Air Medical Committee meeting?
No, the next Air Medical meeting is in May.
Kobe, would you like to give us a report for Air Methods?
Yeah, I gave the report earlier this evening for the different counties. Completed flights in Jefferson for last month, 16, 4 for Lewis County, and 27 for St. Lawrence County.
Okay, on to county reports. Charlie is teaching the EMT refresher. Deb, do you have anything to report on?
He did not give me anything to report, no.
Okay. Carol, St. Lawrence?
Now that Mr. We did our elections last meeting.
Carol, can we just get a mic to Carol?
Sorry. We completed our elections for this next year at our last meeting. The one thing that we've noticed is our board is growing again, where it had kind of slacked off a little bit, but we have had a lot of people come on board with good knowledge and a lot of input. Governor had a teaching day on March 26th, I'm sorry, that Mark did. Still with the leadership meetings continuing, and the next one is April 26th. We've been doing the scratch rates to see where we can improve with the squads that aren't meeting what they should be doing. In May, Air Methods is going to be moving at some point. They're looking at having to move to Messina while Potsdam Airport is lengthened. And we have 2 nominations for the EMS Awards. That's it.
Very good.
If I may, one of the things on adding its membership in the board there, we did actually create new slots so that there's a place on the board for someone from each of the hospitals, so that they will be included in the process, kind of tighten it up a little bit for all of us there.
We do have 2, Potsdam and Ogdensburg, that are represented, so we're just waiting for the letters, hopefully, from the other hospitals. They'll respond. We are also looking for a doctor in our county to sit on our board. Dr. Healy had to resign. He just felt he couldn't devote the time that he needed to us.
Very nice. Any questions on St. Lawrence County? Bob, how about Lewis County?
We had a little thing go on down there of an acquisition of a territory. LSR took over Krogan's territory. They actually signed over their CON to him. So that happened Sunday morning. And so far so good. I didn't expect there would be any issues. There hasn't been. It was well received by the community, very well received by the members. So all is well. At last council, we agreed to do a 6-month project of a BLS known service protocol, which we've had some high scratch rate issues in our county, and now we're holding the BLS agencies accountable as the ALS agencies were accountable, so that they have to sign in with our dispatch center, letting us know when they actually have a EMT and a driver available, a full crew. And if they don't, they're listed as an unknown service. And their service is still paged for that call, but then the next known service that's closest will be paged as well. There are going to be some cancellations on this, I'm sure, and there's going to be growing pains, but it's holding the services accountable of our ability, and hopefully we can ultimately improve patient care. With the LSR Krogan acquisition, we're looking to redo our MCI plan. Hopefully I'll have that done by next meeting. We still have our BLS course going on at Search and Rescue. We're down to 15 students in that, but it's doing well, and I believe that they're all going to test out and do very well. And at our last county meeting, we did have our elections, and there was no change on the council.
Can I add something? Since you mentioned that, I did go up and visit the EMT class last week at Lewis County Search, and I was really impressed.
Good group of kids.
It was a nice group of students, and Jessica just did a wonderful job teaching. I really enjoyed my time there.
Great.
Any questions for Bob on Lewis County? Okay, old business. Ian already mentioned the MOU for the program agency, so that's taken care of. Spring fling, the sheets did go around. There's still some voids. If some people can volunteer and help, it would be greatly appreciated. We're going to scan. If you notice it said lunch scan, we're going to scan at that time rather than collect the tickets, and it'll allow us to do a printout to give to Edgewood, so that there's something more than just trying to count tickets and worried about whether we got everybody or not. So I think that will help with that. The screen that I'd like to do, that the Remsco does, is on suicides and suicidal thoughts among EMS providers. It's becoming a very big thing in the nation. There's a lot of EMS people that are committing suicide, and so I actually took the questions off the white paper that was put out a couple months ago by NAEMT about this. So based on the results we get, we may want to look at doing some stress training and offering some other services in the region. But we all know we're all spread pretty thin, and we really can't afford to lose anybody. And somebody taking their own life in an agency certainly could put it in a spiral downward pretty quick. So I'm hoping that people will be honest when they do the survey, and we can take a look at it and see if there's some services and some things that we should be offering that we're not. 2016 Vital Side Award nominations. I would like to thank Charlie Brennan, Bob McKenzie, and Craig Ballard for reviewing those. There was a slate chosen. Letters went out last week to all of the people that were selected for our region, inviting them to the banquet. So that's already been done. These have to be submitted by May 1st this year. The state moved the date up from June 1st so that they have time to get them in for the national awards. So Debbie was working on a couple of them, adding a little information, so those will go out next week so that we know that they're done and out of here, so we haven't got to worry about it. So thank you for that committee for taking care of that. Charlie's not here, so I don't know the status of the Fort Drum Trauma Day. I'll have to follow up with him, and hopefully we can give you some information at the June meeting on that. Any other business from the floor on old business that we missed?
Does the protocol going out the 30-day have to be?
Yes. So there was another motion from REMAC.
That's all right.
There was just a motion, as you know, many of you received the email supporting the collaborative protocols. So for the New York State protocol process that needs to go out to our agencies and partners in healthcare for a 30-day review and comment period. So there's a motion on the floor to send them out for a 30-day comment.
Any questions on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
On to new business, election of officers. We'll turn it over to the nominating committee, Dottie, Carol, and Raleigh.
The committee contacted the Remsco members, and we only had one person that was interested. So, vice chair was the only interest that we had from all 3 counties.
Who did the calling? I wasn't called.
Emailed.
Computers does work, and I called.
Okay, well, we can take nominations from the floor at this point. So, go ahead and start with Chair Dottie, and if there's nominations from the floor, now's the time to speak up, and we can take additional nominations, and they have paper if we need to do any balloting voting.
Okay, for chair, do we have any nominations from the floor?
You need to give the name first.
Oh.
You got to give the whole slate first.
Oh, okay. Chair is Debbie Singleton. Vice chair is Debbie Folt. Secretary is Dave Sherman, and treasurer is Dave Allen.
I make a motion that we accept the,
You have to do them all individually.
Okay.
Singular.
Right. So, do we have any nominations for the chair?
You have to say it 3 times.
Do we have any nominations for the chair? Do we have any nominations for the chair?
Make
a motion we accept
nomination to be
the,
closed.
Make. Yes, thank you.
Secretary cast 1 ballot.
Second. Okay. Vice
Okay,
chair.
next position is vice chair.
Don't we have to vote on that motion?
yes.
Not if there's no other, the secretary cast the ballot, there's nothing to,
Still got to vote on that. We got to tell the
Gotta
secretary to
vote
cast a
on the
ballot.
fact that that's what we're doing.
okay.
You have to vote a motion.
Okay, so we have a motion for the secretary to cast 1 ballot for myself as chair.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Vice chair.
Okay. The person that was interested in vice chair was Jay. And we have Debbie Foltz. Are you still interested?
Sure.
Jay, are you still?
Any nominations
Wait a
from
minute,
the floor?
you need to,
Are you? Okay. Any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor?
Make a motion, secretary cast 1 ballot for Debbie Falls vice.
Second motion.
we have a motion and a second for the secretary to cast 1 ballot for Debbie Foltz for vice chair. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Okay, make a motion. Secretary, any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor?
I make the motion that the secretary cast 1 ballot.
Treasurer.
Oh, excuse me, the president has to.
Okay.
Second.
Somebody cast 1 ballot for Sherman for secretary. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions?
Okay, treasurer. Any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? Dave, are you still interested?
You don't ask him late now.
I know, I was supposed to ask before. Sorry.
Move that the polls be closed and the secretary cast 1 ballot.
So we have a motion and a second for the secretary to cast 1 ballot for Dave Allen for treasurer. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So carried. So no change in officers for the next year.
Congratulations to everybody.
Any other new business from the floor?
In regards to the election of officers, can we move that slate to a 2-year term?
One of the committees that I had was bylaws, and I'd like that to be looked at, so I don't know who signed up for bylaw committee.
Oh, I didn't even look at it.
Oh, I don't even think, I thought I had it on there. It must be, I printed it and then I added it. So I'll be sending the thing, the bylaws need to be looked at all together. And since we only meet 4 times a year, once a year to hold elections is kinda, so.
Are there changes enough to really?
Yeah, there are some things that we need to update.
Just to keep in mind, the last bylaws, we worked diligently with legal to ensure, so we may want some legal representation with that too.
Okay.
Okay, Red.
Any other new business from the floor, Larry?
Program chair when it was done, and Doc Herman was on the committee with me. I want to make everybody aware there's a drill going on tomorrow night. It starts at 6:15. There's a Radio Amateur Civil Emergency Service hospital drill. He's setting up ham radio between all the hospitals in the region. It's something we do every several months. It could be the means of communications the hospitals have between each other and with the rest of the world, for that matter. I will be probably at River Hospital doing that one. Certainly, if anybody's interested in becoming a ham, we can help you out. And I also encourage stations, fire stations, ambulance stations to put in ham radio capability anyhow, so that you can have that communication if the need be. That's all.
Any other new business? Our next meeting is June 6th.
Make the motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for